with coverage you can count on. This is the Erie News NOWCAST.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Facebook Live as we check some of the stories we're following on your Monday. And do want to start off with the very latest on that still developing situation down in the state of Florida. It all started back on Friday. Officials in Manatee County, Florida, discovered a breach in what they call the Piney Point Reservoir. It's actually located on the site of a former phosphate mining plant. That led to a state of emergency declaration and more than 300 nearby homes being evacuated. Officials are warning about the potential for the reservoir's collapse, and that could flood nearby areas. Authorities still, though, working to drain water out of that reservoir slowly, trying to lessen the risk of a big collapse. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis says the water in this reservoir is not radioactive. DeSantis says the water is primarily salt water mixed with what they call processed water, along with stormwater runoff. Well, closer to home, the investigation continues in Warren County this morning. That's after the discovery of a man's body in the Allegheny River late last week. Authorities made that find back on Friday along the Allegheny River in between Irvine and Tidiute. State police have since turned over the case to the Warren Police Department, and they've yet to release any information on this person's identity. But it does come days after authorities were out searching in the river for two people who had been reported missing last week. An autopsy on that recently discovered body scheduled for a little later on this Monday. Well, we're coming off another weekend of vaccinations all across the area. That's as some health experts raise concerns about a potential fourth wave of COVID cases. That's with more states, including Pennsylvania, letting up on some of those pandemic restrictions. Dr. Anthony Fauci says there are two key things that the U.S. can do to prevent more COVID cases. Number one, double down on public health measures like mask wearing. Number two, get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible. The country did report a record over the weekend, more than 4 million vaccine doses administered in a span of just 24 hours, according to the CDC. But despite that record pace, just not enough Americans getting vaccinated at this point to control the spread of the virus, at least according to health experts. So far, that number is less than 32% of Americans who have received one dose, just 18% of the population now fully vaccinated. And again, more than a dozen state leaders have announced eased restrictions in recent weeks. Several have just recently done away with their mask mandates. And local restaurant workers this morning reacting to those newly loosened COVID restrictions for Pennsylvania businesses. As of Sunday morning, at spots like the Cork restaurant in Mill Creek, they can now use up to 75% of their listed indoor capacity. That's an increase from the previous 50% limit. This move is aimed at letting those restaurants and bars just bring in more customers. The new guidelines for Pennsylvania also let gyms, hair salons, and casinos use that 75% of their available space. All right, I want to quickly check some of the latest COVID vaccination data from across Pennsylvania. More than 70,000 Pennsylvanians got that shot Saturday into Sunday. And that includes just over 1,000 people here in Erie County. So Erie County is now at close to 19% of the population vaccinated. In Crawford County, that number's up close to 22%. A little lower in Warren County, where that vaccination rate sits at 12% this morning. All right, state police here at home hoping you can help them catch a couple suspected criminals, and they're hoping you can do that by checking out this image. Troopers say these two guys went on a bit of a burglary spree, hitting a garage out in Harbor Creek, a couple of cars as well. Authorities getting these images from a home security camera system, and they're asking anybody who recognizes these burglary suspects to call the Lawrence Park State Police Barracks. Well, not long after Erie News Now told you about plans to keep the public parks and pools in Warren closed this summer because of COVID concerns, there's actually a special meeting on that apparently touchy subject set for later on today. Last month, Warren City leaders announced that decision to close down the playground program again this summer, the public pools as well. But it seems there was some public outcry after Erie News Now aired a story on that. It all took off on social media. A lot of people upset about that decision to close down the Warren Parks program. So a little later on today, it's a special Warren City Council meeting with a focus on that playground program, potentially bringing it back, and we'll keep an eye on that one. All right, meteorologist David Wolter, we are warming things up. Kind of a cool start to the week, but not so much anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too bad out there this morning. We are dealing with some areas of clouds. They're shifting on in. They're way above our heads. Temperatures right now are in the lower 50s. Well, clouds in general are way above our heads, but these ones are above some of those clouds. You can look outside right now. We have that washed out look to the sky with our Oliver's rooftop cam. We're down by the bay, and of course you can see Presque Isle out there in the distance. And we look at another vantage point. This is our tower cam, and we do have those kind of blurred skies just a bit. Some sunshine will be fighting on through. We're at 53 degrees, but we do have a little bit of a northwesterly wind. That could cap our temperatures just a bit in Erie, but if you're looking to get outside today, take a little jog along the peninsula, it's going to be feeling really nice this afternoon. We'll watch for a few showers later in the day, and right now we're watching a little bit of rain over there into the mitten of Michigan. Yeah, it looks like an oven mitt, just in case you're just recognizing that. And we see that these areas of showers, they're kind of falling apart as they lose some support in the atmosphere. That's not so much what we're watching. We're going to watch some of that energy try to regenerate a few showers a bit later on in the day. And you'll notice that Futurecast is keeping us pretty dry, just more clouds during the afternoon. We'll bring in a shower or two, mainly after 4 or 5 o'clock. You can see they're moving on through. A little bout of heavy rain is possible during the evening hours, so if you hear that outside, don't be surprised. Can't even totally rule out a rumble of thunder. During the day on Tuesday, we'll have dry conditions for the first part of the day. Notice a little area of showers coming on into western New York, maybe around northeast and moving back into the mountains. But later in the day, as we get into the evening hours, this is when we have the better chance for some more widespread rain showers, thunder and lightning, gusty winds. Possibility there as we head towards the middle of the week. So your zone outlook for today, we are expecting those temperatures to even out along the lakeshore, middle 50s, but areas south getting into the 60s like Waterford, Edinburgh, as well as Union City over there into Corey, lower 60s for you. Lower 60s also into Crawford County. We'll tack on a degree or two into Meadville, Conneaut Lake. And Linesville, putting you guys at about 63 degrees. You can see the rather mild stuff in Warren County. But we'll talk about the week ahead and some really decent temperatures overall. It's coming up in just a moment.
All right, if you're watching this edition of the NOWCAST from your home office, your days of working from home could potentially be numbered with the widespread availability of the COVID vaccine. Seems some companies are ramping up their plans to get their employees back into the office. Yeah, Google's telling some of its workers that it's accelerating its plans to get back into the workspace ahead of their originally announced September 1st deadline. With former presidential candidate Michael Bloomberg telling the folks at Bloomberg he expects them in the office as soon as they get that COVID-19 vaccination process completed. A survey by the folks at Pew Research Center finds that more than half of employees, vaccinated or not, prefer to continue working from home even after the pandemic subsides. All right, another big night ahead for sports fans. One champion crowned, one more to go this evening. It was a last-second shot to win the women's college basketball national title, but it was off target for Arizona. So Stanford with a 1-point victory to claim that women's hoops crown. It was Stanford over Arizona, 54-53, the Lady Cardinals' third national title. Meantime, after that shot heard around the world Saturday night, Gonzaga and Baylor are going to square off for the men's March Madness title this evening. Baylor won their semifinal in a blowout, but Gonzaga had to go to overtime, and they needed that last-second near half-court heave from Jalen Suggs to move on to tonight's final. Yeah. Off the glass and in. Now, if Gonzaga wins tonight, it would be the first undefeated season in college hoops in some 40 years. The folks at Las Vegas have Gonzaga as 4.5-point favorites this morning. I believe meteorologist David Walter, we both had Gonzaga winning it all?
No, I actually had Illinois winning.
Well, Gonzaga was kind of the overall favorite, so it's not like it was some great, prediction on my part. But what are your thoughts on tonight's game?
Well, I mean, based on what we saw the other day, it should be a battle.
That is what I'm hoping
at the
for,
same time, I mean, these kids have been playing for a little while now. They could be worn out. You just never know. That's the beauty of sport.
I predicted Gonzaga, but I'm predicting the upset for Baylor tonight. So
are you? Well, I guess technically I should pick Baylor because I had Illinois facing Gonzaga in the championship game. So I guess by default.
Trying to salvage what you can out of that bracket, right?
Go with the Baylor Bears out of Waco, Texas, and Gonzaga's in Spokane, Washington. I'm just going to save you that search a little bit later on because I know that's what a lot of folks will be doing on Google. Temperatures into the 60s Tuesday into a Wednesday, maybe a little bit warmer for those inland locations. Still have the influence of the lake breeze both of those days, but we've got a few showers towards the evening hours today and a few more as we get into Tuesday night. Partly sunny, high pressure in check on Wednesday, so that will keep our rain chances basically out of the picture, but mild, a little bit breezy Thursday into Friday. You can see temperatures coming down a little bit, but certainly no big crash in the thermometer as we head into the weekend.
All right, thank you, David. Thanks for jumping on Facebook to check out this edition of the NOWCAST. We'll do it about the same time tomorrow, and we'll hit the air at 5 a.m. tomorrow for Erie News Now Sunrise. 30 minutes of news headed your way at noon on WSEE. Make it a great Monday.